What is up, world? You are in tune to Marvelous Talk, and you got your usual suspects with you. Big G, what's popping, man? How you doing this week?
Man, how's everybody out in Marvelous Land doing? Right now in the OHIO, we got a whole lot of SNOW. It's coming down, fellas. So
Man.
I can't do nothing but spend time in the rabbit hole.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. Austin's about to ice up too. Austin is actually about to be 19 degrees tonight with rain coming down. So it's about to
Mm.
get ugly for the next day, and then it's gonna warm up to 46, so we'll be fine. Max out there in sunny California. How you doing, man? We got Max with us today. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I guess I'm the unusual suspect of the show, but it was cold today, man. It was like a 60-degree day. There was some sun, little wind, a little cold. I had my jacket on, so I can only imagine what you two are going through. And Sean, let's be real. If it was sunny outside, you'd still be down there. So don't front. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, Big G.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
lying.
yeah, yeah,
Big
yeah,
G lives in the rabbit hole. He lives in the rabbit
yeah,
hole. That's
yeah.
his place. He has a nice little cushion that he sits in and stays in the rabbit hole. It's perpetual. It's perpetual. But hey, before we get into this, we definitely want you guys, if you like what you're seeing, you love the content, make sure you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, like us on Twitch. Definitely, if you see us there on YouTube, make sure you smash the subscribe button. So every time that we do go live, you'll be able to check us out there. But man, before we get into anything, we definitely want to get into this. And of course, man, we thank you guys for rocking out with us and liking and subscribing the page. But man, we're gonna jump right into it. Tonight we're gonna talk about the Midnight Suns, man. And if we gave kind of like a little brief synopsis of who they were on the last couple of shows, but the ones that we have right now in Marvel, and that we have already cast, there's three on the right that are cast. That's Moon Knight, that's Doctor Strange, that is a version of Blade. I mean,
Oh,
it's
jeez.
not the real Blade, but it's a version of him, and definitely Ghost Rider. You know what I'm saying? So these are the Midnight Suns that we have right now. We know that we're gonna have a Werewolf by Night. He's definitely gonna be a part of that whole thing coming on Christmas. But let's just dive into it, man. And I mean, the first person that everybody will recognize here is Blade. Now, we're going to talk about Mahershala because he's the new Blade, but this is the Blade I know and love right here. That's the Blade I know and love. But Blade as a Midnight Sun. Tell us a little bit more about him, Big G. Tell us a little bit more about Blade as a Midnight Sun.
Well, for those that don't know the backdrop or backstory of Blade, Blade literally is a daywalker. In the comics, Blade's mother was attacked by a vampire and, was bitten by a vampire and then she was impregnated. Well, she was already pregnant. So the blood of a vampire got into the blood of a human being and she survived long enough to be able to give birth to her son. When she gave birth to her son, he had all the powers of a vampire, but he had none of their weaknesses. So Blade has been deemed like the vampire hunter throughout the Marvel comic universe because what he's always done is tried to hunt down and find out and wipe out vampires throughout all the comic book runs. Everything that you're going to see throughout the Darkhold and everything that you'll see moving forward through the MCU, Blade has been that guy that's the vampire hunter and the vampire killer.
Yeah, and Max, what do you think about Blade? I mean, the character in Marvel and his role. Did you have like a big affair with Blade? Did you really like him as a character, or was he just something that was like, oh, he's in the movies and let me go check him out?
Well, I mean, when the movies came out, I was 2, so I wasn't really going by myself. But no, I fell in love. This is gonna sound kind of dumb, but like on the Spider-Man animated shows, when like I first got into like Marvel when I was like 10, and they had like this little run with Blade and Morbius and Black Cat, and then you see Blade. And back in those days, there wasn't like internet, so I bought this like Marvel encyclopedia and I read all about Blade. And that's when I was like, wow, this guy is cool. And to me, he's going to bring a certain darkness to the MCU that I think it sorely needs. Like without dark, there can't be light, and without light, vice versa. So I think Blade's just going to play a huge impact when it comes to just bringing the darkness to the MCU. And like the Disney brand has built up such a trust, like they can make any movie and we're going to be like, it's going to be good. I think that's why so many people kind of soured on Eternals, because the bar's so high and the trust is there. So I'm pretty sure they're going to hit this out of the park. And I like how you practiced your little Blade slander before the show with us, giving the same argument about Marshala Ali, who me and Sean love, and you just a hater, Wesley Snipes. They can't even get him for the role. I think he's still locked up for not paying his taxes. Come on.
Hey,
Stop
man.
being a hater.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you something, Max. Don't be upset. Don't be upset because Blade is best played by and embodied by Wesley Snipes. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, and I said it last week. G'll tell you, I think he would have been a good Whistler. Even if you wanted to recast Blade, I get it, because Blade, the character, is going to be in this next dispensation that Marvel got going, right? So they needed a younger version of Blade. I get it. It's cool. I would have not casted Mahershala. I probably would have got Michael Jai White. Again, he makes the better Blade for me. But I think Wesley should have been at least Whistler. You know what I mean?
But the rumors is that the guy who's going to play Blade now has put on 35 pounds of muscle. They said he's humongous. So, he really, because the thing why most people like Wesley Snipes in the role was that he brought the kung fu element and the fighting element and all whatever else. They said this guy has been training like they know tomorrow and put on 35 pounds of muscle. So I'm really excited to see him do like bulked up and really look like the vampire killer. And I know this much I do know. Kevin Feige is going to get that character as close as a look that you can actually get to the Blade rendition from the comic. He's going to get him there. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to more than anything. Not just the fact that he's going to be part of a spinoff like Avengers type group that's dark, that's called the Midnight Suns, but the fact of his character is just going to play a pivotal role, and you get to actually see the Blade that I saw in the comics come to life in the MCU.
And you know what, Big G? That's a good point. And that's, to your point, I said this last week. You guys, Max even just said it. You have to get, if we're going to open up the Marvel lore and open up all of the good stories that Marvel can tell, you're going to have the darker side to do that, right? And that's bringing in Dracula. That's bringing in, people like Morbius. You're going to have these type of characters coming, which is why they gave us the anti-heroes first, to give you a darker side, before you get Blade and before you get the Dracula introduction. You're going to get all of these anti-heroes like the fake knockoff Captain America, you're anti-hero. You know what I mean? We call him the Make-A-Wish Captain. He was the real poor version of Captain America. So you got him, and you got Ghost from Ant-Man, and you have that person who's an anti-hero. You're gonna have Namor, who's an anti-hero. You're definitely gonna have a couple more anti-hero. Echo. You're gonna have them in the MCU, and that's gonna make it a little bit darker. Go ahead, Max. What were you about to say?
Would you just say this? Like these next few films are just going to be the wave of the anti-hero? I feel like they kind of started setting it up with Hawkeye, because I don't really consider, like, he's a hero, right? But when you go murder like syndicates of gangs for 3 years, you kind of you got to add the anti in front of it. Like, he's got the kill count to be an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like what you said about Blade, anti-hero, Ghost Rider, he worked with the devil, pretty much an anti-hero. Doctor Strange, nah, not really, but maybe Ultimate Strange, you kind of see that side of him, or the Supreme Sorcerer
Doctor Strange is when you think about it, He's an anti-hero, man. I
mean,
mean,
Stephen Strange was an anti-human for sure. He total jerk. Totally had some. I'm not gonna work on crippled patients, so he kind of had a little bit of evil in him.
And
but
the
I mean,
crippled
I
guy in
think
the MCU was Rhodey too, Max.
Yeah.
By the way,
So,
that was
yeah.
Rhodey. He wouldn't work on Rhodey.
Yeah, he's like, losing case. Not in the next one. Thanks. I don't know how Rhodey could ever like that guy after that. But
after that, never in life.
No, it's like, come on, bro. Thanks for helping me walk again. Thanks. But it's like, I think it's just a wave of the anti-hero. I think it's coming, and I think it's needed. And it's like a lot of people, like I know people who are like, these movies are too fun. Like it's always the good guys, right? Sometimes the bad guys win. Sometimes the bad guys, they win. The good guys win, but there's a huge cost to be paid. We kind of saw that in Spider-Man. They won, but Aunt May bit the bullet. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, you know what? Wanda Maximoff, anti-hero.
Exactly. Great example. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just brain possessed the whole town for like 6 months. I mean, that's cool.
But you know what though? And this is just me. I believe that if they're going to really put it, and I said this on the show before, if they're going to actually do Marvel the way it's supposed to be, the way like the comic books and all that stuff is, the MCU really doesn't have black and white characters. If the MCU or the Marvel comic book rendition has never been polarized, right? It's not good or bad. It's always, they're a little gray. I mean, they even took as far as in the comic book and spun Captain America and turned him into Captain Hydra. You know, everybody knows Thor has a huge dark past. Listen, we start talking about Bruce Banner and, you know, Henry Pym and these founding members that everybody's been fell in love with.
Iron Man? Demon in a bottle.
Right, Tony Stark was blowing the world up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so these guys, there's always been that presence or element of it. I just think now with the spin, they're actually going to move past that whole ideology of black and white and polarizing and be more like in the gray with the heroes and players going forward. Because you're going to see guys who are heroes is going to become villains, and guys who are villains is going to become heroes, because that's how it plays out in the comic book. So that's just my spin, you know.
Yeah, and I mean that is what it is. And I mean Thor. I mean we can keep going. We can literally keep going. I mean Silver Surfer. Same. I mean a lot of these people you're going to see, and I think moving forward you got them. Now the next Midnight Sun we got is the next show we're going to have, and that's Moon Knight. First and foremost, I want to hear Max's opinion of Moon Knight, man. Talk to me. What do you think about Moon Knight?
He's one of my favorite characters, man. Again, like the way I had to learn about these characters, my dad wasn't into comics at all, so he was like, "You're on your own, kid." So I just was playing a video game with Ultimate Alliance, and I was like, "Who is this dude in the white, like or gray, whatever it is, Moon Knight?" And then I started reading about him, and I was into Ultimate Spider-Man, and here comes Moon Knight, and I just think he brings chaos in a sense. He's just like he's not a white and black character. He's a gray area. Like he's not afraid to get bloody. He has 3 different personalities. So, you know, Big G can relate to him because, you know, we always see different sides of Big G. But it's just, I think he's going to be awesome. And the show is going to go in so many different directions. And I feel like people always forget when you binge watch a show, that week where you wait from episode to episode, like if there's an episode, he's Mark Spector, and then he's an episode where he's Stephen Grant. It's just like, what are we watching right now? Yeah, I don't think people realize he's nuts.
He's schizo. I mean, he has all of these personalities. One of them is a billionaire, eccentric billionaire. The other one's a taxi driver.
Yeah, and one's the moon god.
Yeah, he has a multi-personality disorder. That's what he has. You know, it's diagnosed. He's basically Marvel's first mental health patient. You know, so that's really what he is. So, you know, by him having a multi-personality disorder, I think Moon Knight is the tipping point to actually bring the whole Sons of Midnight or the Midnight Suns into the MCU, because you've already had the premise laid down talking about the Darkhold and all the other stuff. So I think Moon Knight is the perfect series. Is okay, we get an origin story, but then we see how sinister the MCU is going to go moving forward.
Agreed. I totally can get with that, and I understand. I like Max's synopsis of Moon Knight, and not because of what he said about the character. I think we all learned about characters in Marvel in our own way, and we related to them, and we're like, wow, you know, these are our guys, man. And then when you find out like the deeper things on them, you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that he was this crazy. I didn't know, you know, like, man, you know, I mean, I love Iceman, and you know, that dug a little deeper, and there was some things I didn't like about Iceman, but it was what it was. Bobby Drake was my guy growing up. Wolverine was my guy growing up, and I mean, I didn't think about the fact that he had adamantium in him, and you know, Magneto could pull it all out. I didn't think about that. I was like, you know, I just like the fact that he goes in and he clobbers everybody who's around him. You know, I'm loving it. So the next one we have, and we've definitely seen him in the movie already, is this guy, the Black Knight. And no, we're not talking about Martin Lawrence. We're not talking about him.
Thank you.
We're not talking about Martin Lawrence. Let me go ahead and preface that, because you know, somebody on this panel has asked it, are we talking about Martin Lawrence before?
Hey, it would have been a perfect joke, casting. It would have been perfect casting. Get Martin Lawrence in the MCU.
So Max, I'll let you go first on this one, man. What do you think about Black Knight and Black Knight's powers? And did you like how he was introduced in the Eternals?
I wanted more in the Eternals, but just the post-credit scene where he's like debating, do I open this thing? Do I touch it? And then you hear Blade's voice. What did he say? Like, I wouldn't do that.
He
Mr.
said,
Whitman.
Are you sure you're ready for that?
And I was like, what? And it's just like, he is so insignificant in that movie. Not in a disrespectful way. He's just not in the movie that much. Not about him. But just that's what Marvel does. They're like, here's a breadcrumb. Where's this breadcrumb going? And you got people who've never heard of him. Then most people see that guy. They're like, Jon Snow does barely in this movie. This guy's a great actor because he was amazing in Game of Thrones. And then they learn about the Black Knight and how he has the ebony blade from where the symbiotes are from. And it's like, it's like, you know, those crazy people that draw the red lines to like pictures, like, oh, this all relates. Just imagine if you did that for the MCU, what it all looked like. And that's what makes it so special.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, this is something I've been wanting to ask, and I've heard some of our listeners from Marvelous ask this question. Which version of the blade are we talking about? Which version of this ebony blade does he have? Because there's two different versions of this blade. Am I correct, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. One version is from Dracula, and he cursed it. Dracula cursed it. The other version is from Merlin, correct?
Right. But the conjured weapon from Merlin is actually from the planet that the symbiote is from. And where the symbiote is from, their leader is this guy called Cathal. Cathal is actually from a different dimension, and Cathal is the guy who created the Darkhold. So, like, for those that want to get their knowledge up, start with this book right here, if you can find it anywhere on any shelf. The Midnight Suns, the whole rendition of the Darkhold. And that will tell you and teach you that the symbiotes really come from an opposite dimension, and that's why they have knowledge of everything, because they know about everything that's ever happened, because Cathal is, for lack of a better word, he's an elder god. The elder gods was created like when the Big Bang happened. So he's been around that long. And the symbiote god is Cathal. So that's why you have to like get your knowledge up about, like how Max said, all the red lines and all the dots connect, because eventually we're going to get Cathal. You can't have the Darkhold in the MCU without talking about Cathal. He's the guy that freaking wrote it. So, you know, you got to have him there in order to make this thing work. You know, at least that's my spin on it, bro. Max, what you think, man?
No, I just totally agree with you. And the way they've set it up, it could go one of two ways. They already introduced, hey, there's already Mystic Arts. And who's the guy? Merlin. There's a guy who's like translated. It's like Dracula MCU. It's just like it was kind of like a real thing in literature. And now he's popping up in the MCU. Like a lot of people don't, when you say Dracula, they're not like, oh, like the Dracula on TV. You know, like there's like a character named Dracula. And you guys talked about it last week, I believe. And then we already were introduced to like the hive mind of the symbiotes, where he's like, you want to know everything? Like, I got you. Like, I'll teach you the way. And then they go to a different, he's like, oh, we already know about different dimensions. So they've already primed us to accept both. and it's just going to be interesting which way they go. Or they could just be like, we're going to do a third way, and Kevin Feige's the only person who knows, and is going to surprise the hell out of us. So,
right, yeah, you know, I'm a little leery. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm torn, Sean. I'm torn, Max, because why did we have to use Blade right there at that moment? I know we're tying the Midnight Suns together, right? But my question is if it wasn't Dracula's sword, why is Blade there?
Well,
that's a
big reason. There's a very good reason, because the Ebony Blade also opens up portals to different dimensions that demons can walk through and get on this planet. You got to remember, the Ebony Blade comes from the Darkhold. Okay, so let me explain this. Just give a back second about it. The Darkhold's not even really a book. Where the Darkhold is the caves below Wendigo Mountain, where the guy who created the Darkhold actually existed when he was here on this planet, right? And so his book was a canonized thing that they had in the Marvel comic, that if you started reading out of this book, you could cast spells and turn people into different things. The actual book was actually found at one point by the high evolutionary. And there's a lady who I think we're going to get introduced to real soon. Her name is Morgan Lafay. Morgan Lafay is from Atlantis, right? She was a sorcerer supreme of Atlantis even before all this other stuff kicked off, like when Atlantis was on the planet and didn't sink to the sea. So Morgan Lafay was tied to the Darkhold, and they did all kind of stuff. So what happened was, they empowered future sorcerers and witches and all whatever else, and they just kept reading information on this Darkhold. And moving forward, that's what you're going to get. You're going to keep getting characters introduced out of Darkhold, which Blade is going to be one of those guys that hunt those people down. You know, that's just what I think, you know.
So, Max, what do you think? I mean, when asked that question, if you know, why was Blade there when he was, what do you think?
I definitely think what you said has some validity, that they're basically setting it up with the vampire aspect where it was Dracula's sword, and makes sense because we have Morbius coming later this month, or maybe in a month or two. I know it got delayed for some odd reason, but I think your question is valid just based on that. And I have a question for you. Do you think Wesley Snipes would have done that scene 100 times better where he said that line off camera?
No, I think Mahershala did a good job.
Okay, I just want to make sure because you've already slandered him enough.
I'm be honest. Mahershala as an actor is a good actor. I don't have anything against him. I just don't see him as my Blade. But you know, hey, like I said, to me, if it wasn't gonna be Wesley, should have been Michael J. White. But that's a whole other thing. But I just this was something that, you know, the listeners had asked, and I had a question too, because I was like, what? I mean, it makes sense. It really makes sense to, you know, attack that vampire element, because we're going to bring Dracula into this whole thing. We have to, because Blade needs somebody to hunt. It's like saying, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of these other characters, Morbius, Venom, all of these Spider-Man enemies, right? But no Spider-Man. You can't do that, right? You got to have the person that they fight. So, of course, you got to bring in Dracula. So the next person that we got in the Midnight Suns is familiar to us, but I don't think we have an actor for that character. And that is this guy. We definitely got this
well,
dude.
I guess Nicolas Cage doesn't exist, man. Way to not give him any respect for 1.5 good movies.
Nicolas Cage played Gone in 60 Seconds again in Ghost Rider. He definitely
what's his name in that? Memphis? His name was Memphis.
You know what I'm saying? He definitely played Ghost Rider before, but he is a Midnight Sun. Talk to us about this, G. Tell us a little bit about Ghost Rider, a little background.
Well, first of all, I don't know if we're going to get Johnny Cage. I mean Johnny Blaze. I don't think that's who we're going to get. I think we're going to get Danny Ketch. Danny Ketch is the second Ghost Rider. And really, to be honest, when you start talking about the Midnight Suns, really, you have two Ghost Riders that appear in the Midnight Suns, who is both Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch. They're called the Sons of Vengeance. So the spirit of vengeance has always been on the planet. And there's been multiple Ghost Riders even before the Ghost Riders that we see right now. There used to be a guy called Baron Skullfree. When he first started out, he was the original Ghost Rider. So they all inhabit this spirit of vengeance, which goes, once again, and hunts people who have been released from the dark hole. The one thing that all the Ghost Riders can do is it doesn't matter if you're physical or spiritual, they can wipe you out with the dark stare, with all the little different weapons that they have. They can take you off the planet or take you out of whatever. So I think that moving forward, we might get more than one version of the Ghost Rider. But I really believe they're going to start with Danny Ketch. That was sort of the guy you saw on the ABC spin of Ghost Rider when they brought him in S.H.I.E.L.D., but they messed it up. And so I think that moving forward, Kevin Feige is going to start out with Danny Ketch, but eventually give reference to Johnny Blaze. And both of those guys are Ghost Riders literally at the same time.
Well, why just the reference? Why not just bring him in? Didn't they just open the door for multiverse stuff? I mean, let's be real. They brought in Garfield. They brought in Tobey Maguire. And with Doctor Strange, I mean, I made a comment last show. This is going to open Pandora's box, this movie. It's going to fix everything. They're going to be like, if they wanted to, they could bring in Kevin Feige as Kevin Feige from the real universe. He's the guy who, like, you know what I'm saying? They can do whatever they want. So why not? Like they said, they could start off with him. If they can't bring in Johnny Cage later, and then they go and they have like a little thing, and then here comes Carter Slade on his horse that's on fire.
Yeah. You could definitely do that. So, but Max, what do you think about Ghost Rider, the character as a whole? Tell us what his powers and abilities, and what do you think about it?
Well, you know, he's got the typical super strength, endurance, and stuff, but he's got the what is it called? The stare of judgment, where he looks into the eyes and see the sins of everyone, and then he turns them he basically like takes their soul. I mean, he's a bad dude, man. He made a deal with the devil, fights demons, got the motor, he got the nice whip, the motorcycle we all want, but too scared to drive. I think he's just like, where does he fit in the MCU is the big thing, right? Like it's like, is he a key guy, or is he kind of like the Hulk's kind of been? He's kind of a guy. Like, how has the Hulk really impacted the MCU that much?
He's kind of the you know what I'm saying? He's the guy. You know, he's not really like I don't see him being big as Daredevil. I really don't see him being big as Daredevil at all.
I do, because moving forward, I think you're going to have an MCU Ghost Rider show where you're going to talk about the Sons of Vengeance and get the whole run of how important Ghost Rider is. Because like we said, it keeps going back to what I keep talking about, the dark hole. The dark hole, people just got a little glimpse of it in WandaVision. They saw her off in Wendigo Mountains, which I know she was, and she was practicing all whatever else. But Max hit it on the head. In Multiverse of Madness, they're going to open this thing up. And you're going to really think like, oh my God, they're really showing how deep and depth this dark hole stuff is, and how many characters or how many villains or how many things is going to be thrown literally at the wall in the MCU. If you got all these different types of things there, you got to have people that can wipe that out. Because if not, there's always got to be balance. It's got to be with the good, like how Max said before, with the bad. So you got to have, if you're going to introduce all these dark villains and all this dark stuff, you got to have so-called quote unquote heroes that can wipe them out. Got to have them.
So, but have a character cast. That's the thing. We don't have a casting for Ghost Rider. So that's the thing.
Keanu Reeves, could it be?
He's met with Kevin Feige, I've heard, and it's secret. Like they're trying to fit him into the MCU under.
I'm gonna tell you who I think Keanu Reeves is. Y'all ready for this? I'm gonna tell you who I think Keanu Reeves is gonna play. Dracula.
I feel like that's a one-off role for him. Then he's not in it for long.
Nah, I mean, because Dracula's gonna be there for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I think he would be either. And Big G said the other one. I think he's gonna be Dracula. But Big G, who would you say you think he was gonna be?
Victor Von Doom. He's got to be Victor Von Doom. Yeah, Victor Von Doom.
I can see him being Victor Von Doom, or I can see him being Dracula. Yeah. And the reason why he haven't been announced as, you know, a character is because we don't have a date that either one of those guys are gonna appear, right?
We have kind of a ballpark with Von Doom, don't we? Like the Fantastic Four, but they could always go a different route where he's not in the first movie.
I think he appears before that, though.
I think we're gonna see these guys in a post-credit scene, and it's gonna be like, oh my god, like it's gonna kind of be like it's gonna steal the show, kind of like how in certain movies there's been like, oh crap, that scene is way more important, like how kind of the Eternals was like stolen by this credit scene or something with Blade. It was like, oh my god, everyone's talking about Blade, and no one even talked about the movie.
Well, what we don't realize, and I've said this, Max, we've deep dived on this before. What we're not realizing is that right now, our MCU universe that we got is off. Time travel didn't just kind of change what we saw going forward. It flipped everything around from what was that Iron Man? Where which Iron Man was that? Where he was laying on the couch talking to Banner?
Iron Man 3.
Okay, so yeah, those ages when he in Endgame, or was it Infinity War? Where it was Endgame. It was Endgame where he went back and he was talking to his dad. Dates didn't add up already, so our timeline has been skewed. So who's been running through our timeline?
Well, we know for sure Kang. We know
Kang already ran through our timeline.
We know Doctor Strange has too. They already
have Loki already ran back through the timeline.
Definitely, I'd say that.
Yeah, Doctor Strange found over 1 million different solutions to try to beat Thanos and said only one worked, supposedly. You know, and that's huge in the multiverse of madness going forward anyway. Like you know, the trailer, the little pre-trailer said you've been playing with time. There's a consequence for that, and blah blah blah. Whoopty skip. So it's got to be something happening where some stuff's been messed over.
Yeah, something has been touched that we don't see, and Feige's good at that. But he put those lines in there for a reason. Once again, it's gonna have to pay off.
But
why is it that we had that conversation? Hold on, G. And Max, I need you to answer this, and then Sean, you have the floor. Why is it that he put that dialogue in there where him talking to his dad, and he looked like these dates don't add up? Like, you know, when did she do? And he like, wait a minute, I was born in the next year. You know what I'm saying? So why do you think that line was in there, Max?
I just think it was just to add a layer of add a layer of mystery, add a layer of like, it's kind of like with Spider-Man, right? We all knew he was going to be in it, right? And then it's like Andrew Garfield's like, I'm not in it, and you're like, is he really not in it? Like, it gives that little like that layer of like not knowing, which is so key because it makes it so much more special. Because I knew in my heart like they were going to be in it, right? Then my brain's like, you're stupid, bro. They might not be in it. And as soon as I saw them, I was like, yes, thank God. So I think they're just doing that because there's going to be a little like reveal, or maybe it's just a overlooked thing. But I can't imagine it's that with Kevin Feige running the ship.
Yeah, I really believe that there's a reason for this right now. I really believe it's a reason for that. And I think it's setting the stage for Kang, number one. And Loki has ran through the time universe and just ran rampant. So, I mean, we don't know what he done touched. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he done did.
I'm calling it right now. Trust and believe. Victor Von Doom is going to show up in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Victor Von Doom and the Submariner, Namor, is showing up in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. You can count on it. Maybe that's who Keanu Reeves is. Maybe he's the Submariner.
It could be.
That's cool.
Could be. Let me ask y'all a question.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Submariner or Aquaman?
Come on.
I'm answering the question.
Come on.
Submariner or Aquaman? Who y'all picking? Who you rolling with?
Namor, easy.
Why are we rolling with Namor?
I'll let Max answer. I know mine.
I'm just baffled.
I want to hear both of y'all.
Are you really going to take Aquaman?
No, I want to hear y'all's answer. I'm asking the question.
Wait, so I'm asking you though, Namor or Aquaman?
This is not for me. This is for
Oh my God. Okay.
This is for
Namor's cooler in every way, more powerful, actually hates the surface world. I can respect that because you know what? We suck sometimes as a surface dwelling people. You know, Namor was in World War II. Respect to that. Man was out there fighting. Respect Namor all day. Aquaman, the trash movie, trash second movie. Come on. The only cool part about Aquaman was Boba Fett being in it as his dad.
So, but if we line up power to power, and they had to fight each other, you still taking Namor?
Namor all day.
Namor gonna haul him out, man.
Okay, all right, G, talk to me. Who you got? Aquaman.
First of all, Namor was in the comics before Aquaman. DC bit Aquaman off of Namor. You know they traded off back and forth about, okay, we're going to create this character and then we got a spinoff. Namor.
Okay, but answer the question. If you had to go in a 1v1,
he's an Atlantean. He's an Atlantean, which means that
Aquaman.
No. Aquaman is not an Atlantean like how you think. Aquaman is sort of a spin-off Atlantean, even though he's got a human father with an Atlantean mother. Namor's got the same issue, but Namor's something different than all of them. Namor is a mutant. Matter of fact, Namor was the first mutant in the Marvel comics. This dude predates every X-Men. The only guy that actually predates when you start running the tables back is Apocalypse. But they didn't talk about Apocalypse until later on up the road. Namor's actually the first mentioned mutant in the comic book. So without Namor, there ain't no Charles Xavier, there ain't no Wolverine, there ain't no Beast, there ain't no Cyclops, there ain't none of those characters. Namor started it all. So I ride with Namor right off the bat. Their powers are basically equal, but the fact of the matter is he's a freaking mutant. So come on, man. Come on, bro. Give Namor his props.
Yeah, I like Namor because he can fly. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Because he's a mutant.
I'm like, hey man, the brother can fly. He out there. Not only can he swim through the ocean real fast, he can fly. I like that.
He's probably just flying through the ocean, right? He's just flying underwater.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And look, that's my only reason. Call me petty. Call me very, very just, I don't know what. Call me whatever you want to call me. I like him because he can fly. It is what it is. That's his power.
But he can fly because he's a mutant. He can fly because he's a mutant. He's got wings on his ankles, right? That's why he can fly.
He does have wings on his ankles. He does have wings on his ankles. All right, so just getting past. But no, let me ask again. I got another question. I got another one. Blade versus Wolverine, 1v1. Who you got?
I don't think it's like a double knockout or like a split. How do they win? Like who win? I think Wolverine maybe. I don't know.
Man, Wolverine all day and night, man.
Wolverine all day. Why? Why, Big G? Why you got Wolverine?
Wolverine hold out the Hulk, bro. I mean, you need to get up on your comic book mess, man.
I know
Wolverine hold out the Hulk.
Yeah, but he was inside the Hulk, ate him, so he got put back together.
Which means that he has total regenerative powers.
Blade
has some, but dog, when it goes down, and think about this, Wolverine is almost like the Hulk. He goes berserker mode, right? So like Blade's powers got a cap. Wolverine's powers, when he gets to talking about berserker mode, bro, it's over. It's
all Blade needs is a big magnet, and it'll be all right. Just put a big magnet, drown him, you good. No, I mean it's just like, how do you kill each? Like it's gonna take like 10 hours for them to kill each other. So it's like it can't be a quick fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just like who got more stamina. I think Wolverine, like Sean said, is gonna regenerate. So I probably go with Wolverine then. Sean won me over to his side.
I would definitely go to Wolverine, but and that Big G brought out the point. Berserker mode.
Yeah.
Blade got no answer for Blade has no answer for when Wolverine just starts bananas. I mean, you know what I'm saying? What is he gonna do? You can only block so much. Okay, last one. I got it. You ready for this one? You ready for this one? And this is two of the Midnight Suns. Black Knight, Moon Knight. Who wins?
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight? We go Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight. He's possessed by a deity, which means that if he can't die, as long as the deity has possession of him, he can't die. Now, the Ebony Blade does some strange stuff to Black Knight. However, he can die. Moon Knight, when he's possessed, And even more so, as the moon magnifies and it goes through its cycle, the more it gets full, the stronger and powerful he gets. Moon Knight will take him out, man. He'll take him out.
All right, Max, who you got?
I said Moon Knight. You know those like moons he throws and stuff, and he has like the little moon thing he fights with. Is that cooler than a batarang? Or Batman got him on that? Yeah. I think it's cooler personally. I'm not even a DC hater.
You brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next 1v1. Moon Knight.
You just said Batman. That was your last one. You keep adding them.
Because I saw when you brought it up, I was like, that was another one. I wasn't gonna ask it until you brought it up.
I go Moon Knight. I gotta go with my dog. Even if he's gonna lose, I gotta pick him to win.
Moon Knight is Batman's human. Moon Knight is possessed by.
Batman would get punked. I don't care if anyone said Batman get punked by Floyd Mayweather, low key.
Yeah. A normal human can take Batman out.
Floyd Mayweather?
Nah, probably Mike Tyson though in his prime would punk Batman if they were like both boxing. But people would be like, he devised a strategy.
Lost to the Riddler. Batman's lost to the Riddler, to the Joker, to the Penguin. These are normal humans. Come on, bro. Against Moon Knight is possessed by a deity.
Like, okay,
that's like Bats. That's like for those who like watch the MCU. He's possessed like by the Panther goddess Bats, but a different deity. No, dog, he's gonna lose every time.
Yeah, Batman's overrated. I mean, like the lowest person I can think that Batman could take out would be Black Widow, and he'd have like 2 broken legs and barely escape with his life.
Did you say he would have 2 broken legs?
Yeah, like he could out, but he'd have like 6 cracked ribs, a concussion.
Oh my god, Max is crazy.
I'm just saying because people be like, "Oh, he's got a plan for Thanos." I'm like, there ain't no plan, bro. You're gonna get smoked.
Yeah,
that's like me saying, "Oh, I got a plan to beat up Mike Tyson." I get in there, you're gonna punch me in the head, and I'm dead. So it's just like, what's the point?
Right.
Ain't no plan.
Yeah. Right. It's over.
I love you guys on the 1v1. I could do the 1v1s all day. And
we'll do a podcast one day.
And the next time we get together on a Marvelous show, get ready because Marvelous listeners, make sure y'all have y'all list of 1v1s. Because we're going to have it. We're going to go Max, and we're going to go Big G, and we're going to go 1v1s. Might even bring Damon back for this with just 1v1s, you know what I'm saying? So that we can see who's going to win. Because right now, Batman is getting housed. He's going to get housed. He is going to get housed.
He first round elimination in the tournament.
He got to get like a super good matchup. He needs like a matchup type guy. Like if he gets Professor X.
I'm going to give you matchups like Miles Morales versus Spider-Man versus regular Spider-Man.
Oh, that's tough.
Let's go.
Yeah, like maybe like Batman might get Professor X if he got like Magneto's helmet on. Might get him. I don't know. Yeah, but still throw crap at him with telekinesis. Yeah. So
he got to fight a cripple to win. Batman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's trash. I mean, look, 1v1. I low-key got Big G over Ahmad. That's just me personally.
So wait a minute. You got Batman losing to Black Panther too?
Easy.
He's gonna get hauled out.
He losing Black Panther.
He's got freaking vibranium, man. He has vibranium.
Bro, if you took him out the suits, he'd get washed.
And he eats the heart-shaped herb.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
So if you took the suits away, Batman's still getting washed.
Yeah, easy. He has no powers. Yeah. Me and Batman have the same superpowers. Me and Batman have the same superpowers.
He got the same superpowers.
We just don't have the same bank account. He got me there. Right, I'll be honest. I don't have a butler either. So.
Yeah,
he's out of here. Listen, I'm telling y'all, we're gonna do 1v1s. That is something that is gonna happen here on Marvelous Talk. We got to do it because these guys right here and their knowledge is gonna be hilarious to see. I'm gonna put some good ones up, and we're definitely gonna do it. But we thank you guys for hanging out with us here on Marvelous Talk, man. If you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe on Facebook, on Twitch, YouTube. You can catch us there as well at Marvelous Talk. Man, do we have any final comments before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say something about the news that came out today about the whole Doctor Strange 2 and the commercials are going to be played during the Super Bowl. Everything I've read and heard sitting down here in the rabbit hole, that we're going to get the actual really first trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and the actual real spread out trailer for both Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel. So I'm real excited to let them, all those trailers go off during the Super Bowl to really build up the anticipation. Because, you know, once Boba Fett's over with, we got just a little lull. And then the next thing you know, here we go when Marvel's going to hit the block running. So I'm really excited with them building up anticipation for those titles.
And if you guys don't know, that is not this Sunday, but next Sunday, Super Bowl.
Marvel is trying to steal the Super Bowl like from the NFL, which is crazy, and they might if they like release all that stuff. My last thing is my final one-on-one. I got Big G over Ma. That's just me. That's me.
You got Big G over me.
It's tough. I mean,
he's out of here. He's out of here, Max. He's out of here.
He might give me a comic book knowledge, but that's it. I'll haul him any other way. He's getting hauled. He's my big brother, but I will haul him out.
Don't you believe it, Max?
1v1, he will get hauled all the way out. But no, you know, look here, man. This is marvelous talk. I absolutely love my brother. So there's none of that happening. A 1v1. It might be a 1v1 v1 Mod and G versus Max. That might happen. You know what I'm saying? that might happen.
I'm not a fighter, man. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Hey, man, we appreciate you for hanging out with us, man. And we definitely are going to be here. I do have to remind you guys, Saturday morning, we have our special Boba Fett episode, and we're going to jump in. Max has set up a whole bunch of great things. We're going to dive in. I know some of you guys have been watching Boba Fett, and y'all are like, man, you know, I know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on. And this episode of Boba Fett, you're going to have to check it out because really, before we get to the show on Saturday, you're going to want to see it. I promise you're going to want to see it and get caught up on everything else. But we're definitely going to explore Boba Fett, and we're going to jump in some of the Star Wars universe. And I'm happy to do that because, I mean, you know, definitely we are all Star Wars heads here as well. But, man, check us out. That is Saturday morning. That is 10 a.m. Central. That is, we will be here. That is, we want to see you here as well. And for Marvelous Talk, we out of here. Peace.